Okay, I'm gonna try this sitting down. This is a little experiment. It's my birthday. My present to you is my three favorite lectures from back when I was a teacher. Um, I did enjoy some of it, so here we go. The first lesson that I'd like to emphasize is basically just the power of knowledge, right? And what is knowledge? So there's something called Bloom's taxonomy, and this is like order of thinking skills. So we go knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation, from lowest order thinking skills to highest order thinking skills. The idea here is to get to the higher order thinking skills. But my contention, something that I think is very important to realize, is knowledge is the basis for all your thinking. What is knowledge? It's memorization, right? So if I say a noun is a person, place, or thing, or idea, right? Person, place, thing, or idea, and then you repeat it, a noun is a person, place, thing, or idea. Now you have knowledge. Now you can comprehend that definition, you can apply it, you can analyze how nouns are used, and on and on and on. But without the knowledge, you're dead in the water. So I think it's super, super important to memorize things, right? So one of the things that I did that ask a teacher, ask them if they know Bloom's taxonomy. Most don't. Most don't have it memorized, right? So a long time ago, I just memorized KCAASE. So when people talk about Bloom's taxonomy, I say KCAASE. And then it helps me remember all those things. So you come up with mnemonics, right? One of the things I did, I was an English teacher, so I came up with a mnemonic for the parts of speech. There's 8 parts of speech, so I came up with Papain Cave. And then I told these kids about it, and they said, that's dumb. How about AVP panic, right? And so alien versus predator panic, we remembered that. So you got adjectives, verbs, pronouns, prepositions, adjectives, nouns, interjections, conjunctions. Gives you something to hang it on. But again, without memorizing stuff, you're dead in the water. So it's so important to memorize things. Try to memorize facts and you can blow away your friends too, right? So I think knowledge, memorization, super important. Certain things you just got to memorize. Think of multiplication facts. You got to memorize your multiplication facts. Then you can do algebra, trigonometry, calculus. You don't know those things, you're going to have a really hard time. The next little lesson is denotation, connotation. So words have both a denotation and a connotation, right? So the denotation is, what does the word mean? So if I say the word cat, we mean this little four-legged creature, whiskers, tail, drinks milk, purrs, all that stuff, right? That's what it is. Can't argue denotation. That's just what it is. That's what cat means, this thing, right? But there's also the connotation of cat. That means the feelings, right? The emotions that it might emit. So if I say the word cat, some people might have a kitten and they think of their little kitten and how cute and fuzzy and adorable he is or she is. And they like it. It's positive connotations. Other people might have lived on a farm and they had 12 feral cats and they would get into things and pee and poop everywhere and they were just a big pain. Lots of negative connotations, right? So here's an example of 3 words that mean the same thing, meaning they have the same denotation, but a different connotation, right? So brave means to act without thinking about the consequences. If you're brave, you act without thinking about the consequences. You jump into the rushing river, save the girl that's getting washed away, right? That's positive. It's always good to be brave, right? Also, being rash is to act without thinking about the consequences, right? So you got a car dealership and you buy a car right away. You don't really compare as much, and you just buy it and make a rash decision, right? Maybe not the best thing, not the worst thing, but to be rash is sort of a in between, sort of neutral connotation, right? And then the last one is foolish. It's bad to be foolish, we know that. But it means the same thing as being brave, right? To act without thinking about the consequences of your actions. So again, 3 words, 3 different connotations, but very similar, if not the same, denotations, right? The last little lesson, my students fucking hated this lesson, of course, but it's math. And I would always tell my students, hey, I didn't invent math. I just use it, right? And it works like this, right? A 0 is 2 F's. So if you show up to class one day, show up somewhere one day, and you put in full effort, and you knock the ball out of the park, and you're awesome, and you get an A, right? You did it all, you completed it, you did it perfectly. That's a 10 out of 10, right? The next day you take a nap. You don't try. You don't even do anything, right? What is that? That's a 0 out of 10, right? That's 2 F's. Why is it 2 F's? An F is 5 out of 10, right? An F is 5 out of 10 or lower. But look, a 10 plus a 0 gives you 10 out of 20. What's a 10 out of 20? That's 50%. That's an F, right? So you have to put in the effort. And again, we can extrapolate that to life, right? If you try and fail, if you put in the effort, you're halfway there, right? You tried to ride a bike, right? You put in the effort. You spent a half an hour crashing. Hey, tomorrow, when you try to ride that bike, you're halfway there. You've already put in that effort the previous day, and so it gets you that much closer to success, right? You can think about that with a lot of different things. I made some hoodies, figured out how to do it. They're cut and sew. I worked with a producer, and we made them. They don't sell, right? I don't really put them out in front of people. So, did I fail? Yeah. But I figured out how to do it. I figured out how to get halfway there, right? Maybe not the best example, but there you go. Anyways, it's my birthday. That's my gift to you for today. And I hope you check out more of my videos and subscribe to my page. Thanks. I have been Ice Cream Ian, and I will continue to be Ice Cream Ian. Anyways, have a great day.